Morning, everybody. Tim, hope you all doing well this morning. Happy Monday. We had some interesting stuff happen in the tropics yesterday. We had a Barry developed into a tropical storm pretty quickly down this area in the Bay Campeche and moved up on the coast here, just making landfall not too long ago. There's a tropical depression that weakened considerably in landfall, but it's still moisture and remnant circulation likely interact with the mountains and high terrain to create some substantial rainfall. Very complex pattern here. A lot of stuff going on at the upper levels. We have it was basically ripped apart by shear coming out of the southwest, and we have another upper level low spinning towards Florida, and you can see a boundary draped. Yeah, it's almost like the boundary that normal pushes inland um, is because of the northerly flow here. The sea breeze front can be pushed out here. I think there's a leftover boundary that may linger over several days, and what might bring about cyclogenesis and possibly develop into a subtropical or tropical system in this area in the next 7 days. National Hurricane Center has indicated that with a 20% chance of development in the next 7 days. That's a low chance right now. In these scenarios, it takes a while for this stuff to develop as the front or whatever boundary decays, and you have um, a tropical system develop instead of some kind of frontal based system, which is extratropical. You can see Barry has made landfall, and in the eastern Pacific, we have Flossie, which is forecast to strengthen to a hurricane. Then I'll tell you, the Pacific has been really busy this year. There's indications that another storm will develop in the next 7 days in this area, just to the south where Flossie did. And this is the most recent. I like to use this because this is a Google AI model. What's interesting here, it has the European model comparison to observed, experimental, and other next generation models that use AI and other things, machine learning, to help make forecasts better. As you move over in time, it shows most of them show at least possibly a Category 1 hurricane developing and weakening Flossie, weakening just to the east of the Gulf, California. A lot more model spread further out. But you can see they want to develop something later in the period again out here in the East Pacific. And you see these dots here. It's really not too bullish on anything right now. You have different models. The European ensemble, especially, is not very well clustered, but It shows quite a few. Each dot represents a member of that model. um, Showing where it thinks something might be. And the experimental model has some dots in there too. So um, this is all echoed, this is what the Hurricane Center looks at ensembles and what they agree on, don't agree on. As of right now, still a low chance of development. Next 7 days, just something to keep an eye on, considering it's going to be the holiday weekend next weekend. We'll just have to see what happens here. Really hard to tell after that what it's going to do. Once it develops, then or start to develop, if it does, we'll have a better idea of where it forms, where we think it's going to move, how strong it'll be, things like that. So don't play into the hype. There's going to be a hurricane next weekend along the Florida coast. Just keep checking back here, and I'll keep you informed the best I know how, and then we'll go from there. Last night, we had a fair amount of severe weather with mostly no tornadoes. There was a low tornado chance in certain areas here. Um, if I go back and show the outlook overlap, that was the outlook yesterday. Um, it didn't have a tornado outlook, which there was one late in the day. Anyway, we had a bunch of hail, wind gust reports, wind damage, some significant hail, significant wind, but not some up here in Milwaukee, Chicago, different things. More high wind damage and not significant wind, and not and a lot of hail reports. This is kind of unusual to have it right on in the mountains here like this. There must have been some slope flow or something going on, or some flow coming right off the mountains. Anyway, that was what happened yesterday. Severe weather. Um, what the overall pattern is, I want to go through this in the European model, since I believe it's the most reliable model out there globally. Zonal flow west to east, which isn't uncommon during the next 48 hours. That upper level feature kind of fills in down along the southeast. That's the one with the second of the third. You can see up here. This is the date right up here in time. The general theme here is with a cutoff low to develop. It's showing a low cutoff low along the Gulf Coast and something over here, which may be related to what it thinks is going to develop along the East Coast here. Let's look here. See, it shows a low pressure system hanging around there, but then finally maybe wants to develop something off the Florida coast on the 7th, but it's never really does much. So there's still a lot of uncertainty about that. Going back to the over upper level flow, really interesting pattern here, the way split flow out here. This could lead to some severe weather in this area here in the coming days. And as I talked about yesterday, This is a pretty progressive pattern, but these northwest flow events, you can get MCSs developing up here in the Corn Belt. And part of the reason you get more robust systems this time of year is because the evapotranspiration from the cornfields helps add moisture to the atmosphere, which fuels storms this time of year. So that's not the whole reason, but it certainly adds moisture to the atmosphere. You wouldn't think it would, but we do a lot of watering out there, and the plants transpire into the atmosphere, and so um, that's what happens to it. And so you have, this really interesting flow here. These two kind of upper level systems pinched off. This far out, it's really hard to tell, but the European wants to develop towards the end, wants to develop a pretty deep trough over the eastern half of the U.S. Towards the end, which it's pretty deep and far south for this time of year. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. We'll just have to see. As far as severe weather goes today, let's take a look at the where the fronts are today. I'm using this new map. Hope y'all like it. It allows me to have a bunch of different things and go through a bunch of different stuff on the map. You can see Flossie down here. As Trump, it allows me to have all kind of different stuff on the map here. This is today in the overall severe risk. You have overall thunderstorm risk in a lot of the country, and a marginal risk of, I think it's winds today. Yeah. Let's see what it says. Still trying to get this figured out, but you can change the opacity on this too. I think this is, if I'm right, this is 5% risk of severe wind today. Let me see if there's any hail. There's a low risk of hail out towards Oklahoma. Other than that, no tornado risk according to the SBC as of right now. So for day 2, we have our fronts here. You can see this boundary has moved pretty far south. We have a cold front bisecting the upper Mississippi Valley, and a stationary front with a warm front going up into um, Canada here. And the severe weather outlook for that day, day 2, their Storm Prediction Center is painting a slight risk squarely in the mid-Atlantic, Washington, New York, Philadelphia, potentially high impact event in big cities, marginal risk in larger area. This slight risk is likely because of the interaction with a frontal boundary here, this warm front, and possibility of more, gives you some vorticity and tornado possibilities. So let's see what the No tornado probabilities. It's winds seeming like the biggest threat, and really, it's not even showing a hail risk for day 2, which is kind of interesting. So day 3, see this cold front draped way, way, way across the nation here, and this is likely to um, be what's going to move down into. And you see the surface trough along the kind of all along from the mid-Atlantic all down to the south. That could be a focus for um, more precip too and higher rain chances. But this front is likely to stall once it reaches down here after day 3, and that's probably what the might be the seed to help grow a tropical system down here. So that's most of the reason why there's not be a lot of severe weather out here, because cold front is pretty much passed through most of the areas, so they might get a break for a few days on the severe weather. So let's look at day 3 and just a general risk of thunderstorms on day 3, which that's good news, at least right now. They may change, but um, because this time of year there's not a lot of forcing, and we're relying on a lot of small scale features to get any kind of anything done as far as storms go. Day 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Pulling up for the SPC outlook. As of right now, they're not showing anything. It's possible there may be something come up later on once we resolve what's going to happen now in these areas in the coming days. So we all want to know how much it's going to rain, and I have I have something here for you to show you. We're going to go to what the National Weather Service uses again for precip probabilities. Good chance of rain today over a large portion of the United States. You can see as time goes on, kind of gives it a good idea where the fronts are, doesn't it? Although there is some return of moisture, especially in the monsoon trough or monsoon season areas, favorite areas for this time of year. But there's a good chance of rain each day, really, with the expected amounts. The highest along the Gulf Coast as we move through in time. Still, I wouldn't be surprised. North Carolina, it looks like in that area is really going to get hammered towards the end of the period. But you can see generally where the most rain is expected in the coming days. It's going to really you can see where the front's moving through, right? As you run out of a lot of precipitation in these areas. Like I said, the monsoon season is kicking in out here. So this isn't unusual. The only problem is they have a lot of erosion, burn scars, and so flooding is a serious concern out there with any heavy rains that occur. So, that's about it for today. The theme for this week is, especially for the local area, is unsettled weather, thunderstorms, rain, especially in the afternoon. Localized pulse, severe storms, but nothing too bad, nothing extreme. And severe weather throughout the U.S. is kind of waning right now, with potential tropical development along the Gulf Coast, southeast coast, um, in the next week or so. Barry has weakened as it made landfall, and Flossie is really only harmed the fish. And there may be another tropical system developing in the East Pacific in the next 7 days. I'll try to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and hope you all have a good week.